But you can be sure that if DNA evidence turned up that Jesus had no biological father, they would throw the non-overlapping magisterium right out the window.
Yes.
And so that's another example of...
And they're constantly trying to do that anyway. I got email this week for the umpteenth time, about how laminin is represented as being in the shape of a cross.
Shroud of Turin.
Shroud of Turin.
Scientific test of the Shroud of Turin. Man, they just keep going on with that.
They keep desperately trying to use scientific evidence, and then when somebody points out that it doesn't actually support their case, as they might think, that they've committed some logical fallacy or misunderstanding, etc. That doesn't matter because science can't touch God. Well, why'd you go that road in the first place?
Yeah. Right, that's exactly what I was saying. Well, my question today has to do with deism. And I was wondering what your take on deism is exactly, because I don't hear you talk about deism all that much on the show. I consider myself a deist. Of course, I don't claim that the existence of God can be demonstrated, so technically I'm agnostic. But I think the probability of God is less than 50%, but I still consider myself a deist. And I was wondering if you might consider deism a transitional phase, so that somebody who's a deist may inevitably end up becoming an atheist, just because it's kind of a transitional kind of position.
I'm sure there are people for whom deism is a transitional state.
Why do you believe something that you think there's less than a 50-50 chance that it's true?
And how did you determine that there was less than a 50% chance?
Whatever he thinks the odds are. Whatever you think the odds are, why would you choose consciously to believe a thing that you think is less than 50-50 likely to be true?
I'm not sure. Like I said, when I contemplate these things, I think that I'm probably am in a transitional phase. And I've read Richard Dawkins' essay, Viruses of the Mind, and I can see that maybe the God meme is kind of something that can attach itself to people in such a way that it's hard to let go of it. I do think that I do think that deism can naturally lead into naturalism, complete naturalism. But
I suppose. I was just curious about that one point.
Yeah, I have no problem at all with the idea that, in my case, I was a Christian for a number of years, and then I didn't just immediately say, "Oh, I'm not a Christian, I'm an atheist." There was a period of time where I was trying to figure out exactly what I believed and why. And during that time, I might have identified with a number of different positions where, I don't think the Bible's true, but there still may be something to Christianity. And then it's, I don't think that there's anything particularly true about Christianity, but there still might be a God. And so let me investigate, other potential religions. And then, I don't really find anything true in those. And so, there still might be a God. It's just the kind of God that we can't know anything about. And then, of course, from there, it was rather easy to say, well, why on earth? How could I rationally say I believe there's a God, and also say I don't believe we can know anything about God? I'm not even sure what the definition of God is, and I have no way of assessing whether or not this undefined thing could possibly exist because I have nothing to compare it to. That is the way out of the meme trap for me. What I do have an objection to, and I met some yesterday, because the Texas Free Thought Convention is not just an atheist thing. There are deists there as well, free thinkers. I don't begin to understand how somebody can be a skeptic, a rational thinker that is considering evidence and making decisions based on evidence, and not be an atheist.
Right.
Now, I'm open to being wrong on this and having discussions, I just don't see how it's possible. I don't see how people recognize, there are Christians who say, I'm a skeptic. Well, okay, you're a skeptic. You seem to be skeptical about all sorts of things except for your own religion. And if you have some divine revelation that is evidence for you, okay, that's fine. But at least would you at least admit? I'm not you. I'm talking to this hypothetical Christian that your beliefs aren't justified for anybody else, and by that account are incompatible with skepticism. The application of critical thinking to evidence and reason. I don't understand how deism could be considered compatible either. I guess it would depend. How are you going to define God? I mean, this is which God are you going? The deistic God, the God that wound up the universe and let it go, type thing, that doesn't interfere, that doesn't in any way manifest in reality, that doesn't care. First of all, if it exists, so what? Whether or not somebody believes in it's irrelevant. But I see no reason to come to a conclusion that it existed. And everybody who's tried to demonstrate why they think it is has always resorted to an argument from ignorance of, I just can't see how the universe could have come to exist in any other way, and because I can't think of anything else, this God answer must be the answer. Maybe we don't understand God.
And that's not how skeptical thinking works.
Yeah, it's not.
That's just not applying the principles.
Well, and that's what I think I was trying to get to. The God I see as being almost completely improbable is the personal God. And so that's how I would define God as... and maybe that's why I see deism as being transitional. And once you're a deist, as I am currently, I don't know how long that will last.
Yeah. We don't mean to...
Once you're a deist, you think to yourself, well, wait a minute. If you posit a God who creates and then leaves and has nothing to do at all, why is he there to begin with? Why does he need to be there to create and to begin with if he has nothing at all to do with it? I think it might be the last... I kind of see deism as the last rung on the theistic ladder.
Well, that may be the case. Speaking personally, I hope that for you that is the case, but I don't think it's exactly our job to tell you what you should or shouldn't believe. We're just here to describe our positions. I certainly would prefer a world full of deists to a world full of theists.
And that's the other thing. I don't have any personal emotional attachment to an idea of a God. I am perfectly fine with there not being a God. I don't have any emotional attachment at all. I do care about the evidence, and I do place evidence and skeptical thinking above emotional attachment. And
but then let me ask you this question one more time, right? Because I'm still puzzled. You said earlier you think that it's less than a 50% chance that a deistic God exists.
Well, I said it's less than 50% chance that a personal God exists.
Less than 50% chance that a personal God exists. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Maybe I misunderstood. All right.
Well, in any case, I can tell you exactly how long your deism will last. As long as you let it.
Right.
If you've already viewed this as a transitional thing, you may be on your way out of a deistic position. We could probably have a conversation where you and I, where at the end of it, you'd say, oh, okay, I guess I am an atheist, not a deist. But that's not necessarily the way things are going to end up. You've got to take whatever journey you're going to take. We're happy to answer questions and give our feedback on it. But if you're viewing deism as a pathway to atheism, then okay, fine. If what you're really looking for is permission, I give you permission. Take the next step.
Oh, I'm not looking for permission. I'm a free thinker. I think for myself.
Yeah, I'm having fun with you.
Right. And that's the other thing is I find so much common ground with atheists on virtually everything. Politics, separation of church and state, science. I'm pretty much on the same ground as atheists, so I find a lot of common ground. And before I leave, I wanted to, just this past weekend, I wrote up a brief little few sentences of what I think is my personal definition of morality, and I wanted to see what you thought of it.
Okay, go.
My personal definition of morality would be that morality is a product of the collective experience of societies and cultures, and from these institutions, standards emerge that form patterns as they evolve over time. The emerging patterns do not originate from a single statically overarching source, but from survival and efficiency mechanisms that adapt to changing societal conditions. Is that a definition that you think is competent?